yes. Mumi, your point is valid. I like the question. But let me just say this. The Imperial Broadcasting Agency staff was on a blog talk radio segment, and they patched me in, and I listened. And I won't speak to whose blog channel it was. I respect their privacy. But it's a sister's blog talk radio channel, and apparently we're very familiar with her, and she's very familiar with us. She had a panel discussion on a wide variety of the Moors, and the Moorish folks were on the line, and they were engaging. Fascinating discussion. Apparently, according to what I was told, the moderator is they're brand new to the blog talk radio segments in terms of how to broadcast, and we weren't familiar with how to do particular things. Apparently, there was a move to look to participate and speak on some of the matters that were raised by the various members of the panel, and folks that were just called by the moderators to speak on particular issues. It was our women that were basically acting in concert to moderate, and grateful to see them do the work. Beautiful. We appreciate it. It needs to be done. Matter of fact, I think one of them is Kaz Il, who I was spoken to about by several of our folks. GIA has mentioned her. Imperial Broadcasting Agency has mentioned her. Apparently, there's been interactions with her, and I think she's in the New Mecca area. But anyway, with the particular broadcast, there were some things that I got to hear, and I thought that some of the things that they were speaking on were interesting, but there were some things that could be construed to be troubling. I won't go into some of the particulars at this point. I'll just say that a little bit of information sometimes can be dangerous. When folks don't know how to navigate with particular things, and they're doing things in the dark, they can get themselves hurt. But there are folks that were on that line I know personally, and there were folks that were on that line that I have interacted with before. Maybe we don't know each other personally, but we've interacted, and so we're familiar with each other. That said, there are folks that were making particular statements that made me say, well, I know that they know better than that, because I have spoken with them, and I've interacted with them, and we have seen particular things, and we've manifested particular things, and we know that they know particular issues. So I have to wonder about where folks are at sometimes, and I have to wonder about issues of concealment. I will leave folks to their own devices. You can move to hide particular things, but truth always comes to light. I'm not perfect myself. We have a wide variety of issues that we all have to contend with in our very lives. And goodness knows, we all have a lot of things that we have to address in our life's walk. But when it comes down to this particular issue, putting out information, and you know for a fact that you don't have a clue as to what in the world is really beyond the veil, you shouldn't engage in particular things, because there are a lot of folks that's new to particular things, and they're listening to all this, and they will get themselves hurt. And some folks have gotten themselves hurt based on misinformation. Now, I know a lot of folks have really, really good intentions, and I know that. I have to respect that. But those good intentions, folks not trying to hear that when they're going through loss of liberty and private property because misinformation they acquired from folks that were meaning well. So, if you haven't actually engaged, this is why we tell folks, look, when folks come into this venue, we tell you, look, I don't care how long you've been doing whatever. If you knew what in the world you were doing, our folks wouldn't be in the situation that they're in. So, no, we have a training regimen, and you're going to take it. It's not up for debate. You're going to take it. You're going to engage in the 32 hours a month of volunteer time using what you have been trained in. This stuff is nothing to sneeze at, nothing to play at. And a lot of folks, I'm like, wow. Primitive stuff is one thing. But faulty and primitive is two separate and distinct issues. I spoke with the sector ambassador for the North-Amexem, and he was speaking to the issue of he and some of our staff on the ground in that particular area where that op center is, the Umi Road Shaversdale Operations Center. They went over to a particular function, and at that function, these folks are passing around material that they've been working with, and the lieutenant commander who was there, along with the other folks that were there, uh, looked at material, and other folks that was there looked at the material, and some of the folks just they busted out laughing and just chuckled themselves into a frenzy. And when I was informed this, I said, well, what made them laugh? They were speaking to the issue of the documents that these folks were bandying around the room. And I said, well, all right, what? They were speaking to the issue of the document preparation. Basically, our youth that aren't even at adolescence can outwrite them, apparently. And these are folks that's actually doing instruction. These are folks who are putting on classes. Now, we have seen this before where some of our students have gone and interacted with folks, and folks have gotten the surprise of their life because of our folks' training. And it just proves the point over and over again. If you don't have particular talent and skill in training, you should be very, very careful in what you engage in, because you get yourself hurt, but you get a whole lot of folks that love you hurt, and you make a mess, a huge mess. And when parties come across those who can navigate, they find themselves in the same situation over and over again, completely stunned. Like, no, this can't be right. You're not supposed to know how to do this. And they continue forward. They put themselves in a serious trap. And then we basically call them out and take them down. And, you know, it's shameful when you have folks who know better continuing to do things. Now, if what you're doing is for hustle, be honest and say, look, my classes are how I get my hustle on. That's how I eat. Be upfront and honest and say that. But don't go out and say that you are presenting folks with information that's viable and actual, particularly if you have not had any success with it. If you can't produce transcripts, if you can't produce certified copies of any records showing your success, then basically you are basically just going into theory. And folks can't feed their family on the theory. Either it works or it doesn't. You can either present evidence or you can't. This is why, again, I say, I don't care how long you've been around doing the thing. I don't care how long you've been wearing the feathers or a turban. If you knew what in the world you were doing, you know, a lot of folks, they go into foreign venue stuff or interactions with folks, international discourse, and most of the time, they're doing it Masonically. Well, if you're doing it Masonically, be honest and say so. Don't go and tell folks that you're doing so-and-so this way and know for well you didn't do it that way. You put this in on a whim. You put this on a whim, and then you went in and you flashed gang signs. Be honest about it and say you went in the chambers and you had a little story about you and the master. Do that. But don't tell folks that you're doing this all on the strength of talent and skill in terms of how to engage in international discourse, because that's very dishonest and folks get hurt. And we have seen it over and over and over, and we're tired of seeing that type of thing. It just doesn't make any sense. It's just wrong. And it's a sorry, sad state of affairs that folks do that to folks. And the thing is, they think that they won't get called out on it. Well, I'm telling you here now, yeah, well, we will call you out if we see it. And make no bones about it. Because you can't, it's just ugly. For no reason. And why? And I look at folks, and I